welcome to another episode right here. I get the awesome privilege of being able to interview Anthony from Wade State.
I appreciate that, my brother.
Anthony Precie, bro. You need no introduction, man.
Thank you again. I really do appreciate you guys.
Yeah, no, for sure, bro. So since the last episode, right, that, you know, where you kind of launched some reels there, man, and talking about Wade State and how Wade State came about, and even the whole slogan about keep pushing weight and everything, and how you really want that to become a lifestyle, right? About pushing weight, you know what I mean? And how sometimes the struggles of life, you know what I mean, they come down on us, right? And sometimes like the only option we do have is to keep pushing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it.
Yeah.
So, but we never really got to really go deep into your life, bro. You know what I'm saying? And so, who is Anthony Precie, bro? Who are you, bro? And
that's a great question.
What are some events, bro? What are things that, let's talk, bro. Let's chop it up, bro, and let's go back as far as you want to go back and tell us a little bit about your life story, man, and go into depth.
I think going pretty far back, most of my childhood had a lot of like leadership involved, and that was through like my father.
Yeah.
I think a lot of like, I guess my habits kind of come from him, and the reason why that is because he used to be in the military. So he was in the Navy. He grew up being very hard on me and my brother, having super high standards. You know, me and my brother have so many memories. I think my earliest one is just like mowing the lawn, and I think I had allergies at that time, or a bloody nose or whatever. And I remember I did a really horrible job at it. And he opens his door, he looks out, he says, "You're allowed in the house when you're finished and you do it right." And regardless of the fact that I didn't feel good during that time, I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?" And I mowed the whole thing, and he let me in. But the thing is, it's like he grew up where when I tell you to do something, you do it. So it's like when someone tells us to do something, or we tell ourselves to do something, we take action right away. And you know, just having really high expectations for ourselves. You know, we're always gonna fall short. But I feel like going back on my father, like, he really instilled that into us, you know. And fast forwarding, you know, playing soccer, and then, you know, I give a lot of credit to my parents, guys, because like we didn't grow up with money, and they didn't start seeing money until we're like fresh out of high school. So they did their best of what they could provide for us, giving us a great childhood, doing the things that they could do. I remember that going out back in the day for me and my brother was sharing a McDonald's Happy Meal. Like, that was going out for us. And, you know, like, there's like, I didn't understand it at the time. I didn't know at the time, and I didn't need to know what was going on at the time. I just knew that they were doing their best, you know, regardless of like my parent situations, you know. Yeah. And he has shared a lot of stories about his 20s and 30s that I had no idea what he was going through. I was like, damn, that's crazy. He didn't start opening up, obviously, until we were older, but no, a lot of my childhood stems from like, you know, having high expectations from my dad, for sure.
And that's, I mean, I think that's one thing that a lot of times, like this newer generation, right, like that is missing. You know, I always talk about, that's one thing that I always talk about in a few of my episodes, you know, is it's how good it is like to look back on things, especially those moments when our parents were hard, and understand why they were hard. You know, understand like they were hard for a reason, and we can really look back and say, man, like, I thank God that they were hard in these areas of my life, because if they weren't hard in these areas of my life, like, who knows, you know? And the thing is, like, sometimes we say who knows, but the thing is, like, sometimes we see like the effects of soft parenting. You know what I'm saying? Like,
for sure.
You know, like, you see the effects, bro, sometimes of, you see like these younger kids, you know what I mean? Like these teenagers going out of high school sometimes, and, you know, and the effects of soft parenting and too much coddling, right?
No, for sure.
You know, it can sometimes do more bad than good, you know, because then, like you said, those standards in a way, man, they set you up to be like, yeah, you know what? Like, this is, no matter what I feel, no matter what I'm going through, like, I got to get the job done.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think another thing too, it's like, he never really, as he started, as my dad started making more money, he never really gave us everything. I remember like when I was, I remember as far back as being 5 years old, playing soccer for the first time. Yeah. I was like, dude, I'm in love with this sport. And growing up, like, obviously, I think, as your kids get older, the sport gets more expensive. Yeah. And I think everyone can relate to that. Yeah. I don't have any kids, but I see the kids that I train, how they charge a lot, and it's just getting more and more, So, but basically what I'm trying to say is, I just lost my thought, bro.
Well, the sacrifice that they would make.
Oh, yeah, the sacrifice that they would make. So, like, my parents always told me that, well, my dad always told me, well, both of them, I'm going to give it to both of them, that you don't deserve anything in this life, regardless of where you are. Mm-hmm. You deserve what is negotiated and earned. So, no matter what your financial level, like political, like where you are, because here's the thing, with sports, there's a lot of politics. Mm-hmm. And I remember that I was playing ASO for the longest time, so just recreational soccer, because I don't want to say we couldn't afford it, but here's the thing. Back in the day, charging $400 or $500 a month for a club team, that was a lot of money, bro.
That's a lot, yeah.
$400 or $500 now, I think, has less value. It's still a lot of money today, but I think it has less value than what it did maybe like 15 years ago. Yeah. It's worth a lot more money.
Yeah. I mean, people's mortgages were $400 or $500.
You know what I'm saying? So, I remember my mom, I give a lot of credit to her as well. It's like, my mom picked up a side job at Burger King, and literally, I think, gave me all her checks so I could play soccer.
Dang.
So I give credit to her a lot too. And like, my biggest thing, it's like, again, back then, I didn't know that. I didn't comprehend it, but I still tried to do my best, one, to try and get a scholarship through soccer, or maybe even go like the professional route. And then, because before that, while I was playing ASO, bro, like I was playing high school soccer, and I feel like I was good. Maybe some of you guys who are watching this clip who I went to school with, you're probably talking a lot of bash right now, and I personally don't care. I really don't care. But the thing is, it's like, because I wasn't playing club, the varsity coach was looking down on me for some weird reason. He just never liked me. And I was like, dude, I don't get this. Like, I'm super good. I'm scoring goals. I'm tall. I'm strong. I was like, why does this guy not like me? And I understood that, as you get older in the sport of soccer, a lot of politics is involved. Yeah. A lot of, like, who's donating more money to the school. Yeah. Who's paying the coach this or that. Who's basically, you're stroking ego at that point. Right. And my parents refused to do that. And they said, I don't remember the exact words that they would tell me, but they would just tell me, like, if you make it, it's because you made it. You didn't buy your way into it. Mm. And that was like a direct representation of, like, if you really want it, you're going to work hard regardless of, like, how much these people are paying. Yeah. Now I was like, damn, all right, you're right. Like, I'm going to try my best. And, but that, like, during that time, bro, like, it goes back to, like, Wade said, you didn't know what it was. You feel the stress of, like, not being good enough, not feeling good enough. But you have to pursue to try and, like, be better. Yeah. It's like, I feel like soccer alone has taught me a lot, for sure. And then as things got more advanced, like professionally, semi-professionally, it demanded more from the sport, more investments, more travel, more money, like everything. And coaches were harder on you. Nothing was ever easy. And the same thing goes back to it, man. It's just like that discipline of, like, one, how's your food? How's your water? How's your sleep? Are you doing good in training? And just having that high expectation, And my parents were always, like, supportive of what I was doing. But I think, again, like, having that high expectation for myself, again, stems from, like, my parents having high expectations on me and my brother when we were children. So we carried that with us, like, all the way through, even to this day.
That's good, bro. No, that's really good. Yeah, shout out to your parents for that, man. Because like, that's a lesson that you can't you can't put a price on. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and I really like that, how, you know what, that mentality of like, no, you're not gonna buy your way into it. Because I really like that I like that mentality too, you know, because I have my kids in sports, you know, and it's true. It's one of those things like, man, like, it's almost like you're expected in the sports world to like stroke people's egos and try to buy your way in. And I've never liked that, bro. Like, even in the workforce, I've never liked being that guy. Like, you know, anyone that I've ever worked with, bro, can attest to it, bro. Like, I've never been the one to like kiss up to my bosses, to my supervisors. Like, like I've always had that mentality where I want to earn. I want to earn what I get. Like, if I get a raise, I want it to be because I earn it.
Yeah.
If I get that promotion, I want it to be because I earn it. If I get that job, I want it to be because I earn it. You know, because I am the good candidate. Like, exactly. I don't want you to give me anything just because, you know, and even to this day, like, that still follows me to this day, like, where I want you to work with me because, you know, I'm going to do a great job for you. You know what I mean? Like, not because of anything else, not because, but like, you know, if you trust that, like, great, let's work together. If not, like, it's okay. Like, you know, I'm not going to send you a box of chocolates every time. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I like that mentality. And that's the same mentality I try to like teach my kids, you know, where like, look, like, you work hard, you know, if you're not starting right now, like, it's okay. Like, you know, we're not going to kiss butt, you know, we're not going to, you know, bring special gifts for you to start. Like, if you're not starting, it's obviously because you need to develop, you know, so let's develop, you know? And so, yeah, man. And what other big lessons, man, did you learn, bro, that to this day, like, you're like, dang, that's something I hold on to, whether it be soccer, whether it be from your dad or your mom?
I feel like a lot of my coaches play a part in it as well. Just being super, you know, clean cut, disciplined. They're from England, and they're super, super strict in regards to soccer. So I give a lot of credit to my coaches. Yeah, for sure, my coaches, my parents. And then,
is there a coach in particular that, man, really stands out?
Probably Coach Gio. I don't know if he's listening to this, bro. That's crazy, but I don't. Probably not. But he was just super strict. He had high expectations, high standards. Everything had to be well taken care of. There's another guy named Jason. He was really hard on us too. I think he doesn't live here in California. He lives in Texas now, I think. But he was super hard on us too, man. He was like, if we were goofing around during practice, he would make us do sprints. If we were joking around, like, I've seen him kick the best player off the team. Like, I could tell you that much. Where one time we had a tournament in Newport, and these two players were in Newport, but they didn't show up to the game. Instead, they went to the beach, surfed, enjoyed time eating food, whatever.
Wow.
We ran into them at a restaurant accidentally, and it was actually my friend's mom, and my friend's dad was the assistant coach. So they had high expectations, and they kicked them off too. So dang. I think my coaches too played a big part. But dang,
that's you don't see that a lot, bro, nowadays.
There's no free cards, you know.
You don't see that a lot nowadays, bro. Like being in the sports world right now with my kids. Like, I'm not saying that every league is like that, but bro, like, it's very common right now to see, like, where if you have a talented player, bro, like, they'll miss practice, they won't show up, you know what I mean? And of course, I know that it's not on them right now. Like, they're at an age, you know, where they depend a lot on their parents, right, to take them. But the discipline of them not being there sometimes, like, you see it, and then they still comes, like, their starting position is still there waiting for them. You know what I'm saying? And I think there should be grace, but I think at the same time, man, like, there's got to be that mental toughness where, like, and I think right now the reason why there's not a lot of that is because there's so many options for kids nowadays.
For sure.
You know, like, there's like, well, if you don't make it here, you know, there's another league over here. If you don't make it in that league, if you don't like the way they coach there, you can always transfer them to another league. You know, that's hard, bro.
Yeah.
So that's my mentality right there too. Like, fine, you don't want to show up, like, you're not gonna start.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, and then you know, just overall, I think soccer honestly was probably like the biggest stepping stone in my life. Even, when the coaches weren't training us the other days during the week, I was out there on the streets. I would do my homework during school. I'd get out of school, and then I would train every single day on the street barefoot, or I'd go run 10 miles a day. I would just try to be my best, right? Always fighting the idea of just trying to be your best, but always falling short. So it was like this mental battle of just like not being good enough, not being good enough, not being good enough. And, regardless of what you felt, you had to show up every single day and just do the dang thing, But yeah, soccer played a huge part for sure. And then obviously like going to college, that was another thing. I dropped out like 3 times. I never wanted to go. I went because my parents wanted me to go, and I always say if I could go back, I would have never gone, but everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So you can't change, you can't undo anything that you've done.
Right.
So I think the biggest thing that helped me finish college, I remember my dad sitting across the table. He was just like, look, and he's actually a true testament, and I'll get into that as well. He's like, honestly, you don't need to go to college to be successful. But since you're going, go to college to be socially accepted. It's just a piece of paper. That's all it is. And the reason why he says that is because his degree is nuclear engineering. This guy is smart, bro. But he is doing more of like chief business operations. Has nothing to do with his degree.
Yeah.
But what he told me is that you need to find the mentors that are going to help mold you and shape you to get you to where you want to go. I have my mixed beliefs about college. I think some like going to college for certain things are good, but I think what lost me in the college system, I swear to God, man, was at Cal Baptist University, and I was very shook for them being a prestigious college, that they had a degree in entrepreneurship. And I remember sitting there looking at the list of degrees that they offered, and I was just like, there's no way you're offering a degree in entrepreneurship. You're robbing these kids of like $100,000 for a rinky-dink bachelor's degree. Everything's different now. Back in the day, a bachelor's degree was like having a master's. Today, it's like having a high school diploma.
Yeah.
That's honestly the way I look at the system. And I thought it was super rigged when I first saw that. So, but anyways, I had my degree. Dropped out 3 times. Finally did it after 6 years. I refused to go back. And I think during that time of me going to college, actually my first job, bro, promise you, was Stater Brothers. I absolutely hate
right after college.
I absolutely hate. No, it was during high school. I remember my mom opens the door. She rips my blanket off. She throws me a fresh clothes of like a dress shirt and dress pants and like nice shoes. She's like, you have a job interview. I was like, I'm going to go, but I'm not going to get it. I'll let you know that right now. I ended up getting it. They called me the next day. I absolutely hated it, bro. And the reason why I hated it, the reason why I hated it, and I feel like that's why I'm doing what I'm doing today, entrepreneurship, being in business for yourself, having Wake State Fitness over at Redlands Athletic Club, having doing a Nagic Kangen water sales since 2015, bro. It's 2024, going on 9 years. We've helped over 8,000 families get this medical device in their home. And I think, again, stems from like my parents having high standards, being resourceful, finding mentorship for people to guide and mold you to where you want to go. And also just, being a continuous student. You don't know everything,
right?
So there's this saying that to know and not to do is not to know. So you can know, but if you don't do it, you don't know it.
You don't know it. Yeah.
So, but anyways, when I was going to college, when I got my first job at Staters, I just knew the corporate world was not for me, and I kind of had a glimpse at it because they were painting the picture like, oh, go to U of R to get your minors in business, so you can run a Stater Brothers store or be a district manager or be a supervisor, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And again, man, when the supervisor came in, everyone had their tails between their legs. Everyone preached this whole seniority thing. Like, I don't believe in that, bro.
Yeah.
I don't care that you're older. It doesn't make you better or more wiser.
Oh yeah, so, Stater Brothers is big on that because they think they're union.
Yeah, nah, bro. That's why I love entrepreneurship, because the newest person can walk in. It's like, I don't care how long you've been in business for, bro. I'm gonna run you to the ground. It's competitive.
Yeah.
It's not, and again, it's not for everybody. And I think that's why I love it. It kind of brings back that soccer edge, where it's just you're constantly battling every single day, and it's like it's a double-edged sword for me, because I think in entrepreneurship everyone's trying to compete, but it should be more collaborative.
Yeah.
Why are we not collaborating? So like for example, for the gym and the water, my biggest collaborator is George. You know, yeah, he has his own gym. He could be someone who's in the, like, I could see him as like competitive or whatever, but I really don't see that. I really see it. It's like, hey, bro, like, let's collab, let's grow, and let's take these things, like, take what we want to the next level. You know, so I think entrepreneurship is not for everybody, and I just knew that the corporate world was not for me. It's just, I hear stories about my brother at his school district job. I'm like, bro, I don't know how you do it. Like, I would be in a fist fight if I was there. Like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love the entrepreneurship industry. So just trying to take that to the next level.
Yeah. No, that's what's up, bro. Like, no, yeah, man. I want to say, like, because I was in the corporate world for, man, how long was I in the corporate world for? Probably since I was like maybe, because I started off independent as a medical translator. You know, I used to do medical interpreting, you know, for workers' comp patients. And then I want to say maybe I was like maybe 24, 25 when they offered me like a full-time position, like in the admin, you know? So I was going to be full-time, but I was going to be taking care of like the billing, the legalities of all that stuff, you know? And so, you know, I gave it a shot, man. And then I just kind of like went down that rabbit hole, you know? I was like, what's the next thing, you know? And, but one of the things that I'll say, like, that, like, cause like you said, everything happens for a reason, you know, and of course I already had a family at that time, you know, we had just gotten married. I had my daughter, my second boy was on his way, Ezra. So I had to provide, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't just, you know, and at that time, entrepreneurship wasn't really something that was like, I was just more worried about, like, I needed to provide. But one of the things that I'm very grateful for that I learned throughout that season of being in the corporate world, being a claims adjuster and all that stuff, was like, what a lot of people don't know is, man, like, I have a Bible college degree, but that's pretty much it. Like, and that was more for when I was in ministry, but I don't have a bachelor's degree. I don't have a master's degree. Like, I don't have from accredited school. Like, I don't have any of that. But I was able to like self-learn myself into a claims adjuster position.
For sure.
Which, like, most claims adjuster positions, like 100% of them pretty much like are bachelor degrees background or master's degree background. You know, so what that taught me was like kind of like going back, like where it taught me, like, if you earn what you want, you know, you work hard, you earn, and you're able to maneuver your way into it. Not manipulate your way into it, but maneuver your way into it and show your performance. And I think that's what I would always do, is like I would always outperform my peers. I would always outperform those with master's degrees, bachelor's degrees. Like, I would always outperform them. Like, my numbers were always better, you know? And so coming into the entrepreneurship world, man, like, it was different. Like, that was one thing, bro, like, it hit me different, bro. Like, because you do get used to like your set hours. You know, you do get used to your set days off. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get used to that. And so now sometimes it's crazy because, like, we'll find ourselves like doing work on Saturdays. We'll find ourselves doing work on Sundays. Like, we'll find ourselves working sometimes so much that we're like, what day is it today?
No, I'm always like that.
You know, but in a way, like, I love that. Like, I kind of love the way that, like, there are moments when you, like, it's grind time, and then there's moments when it's like, okay, you know, pace yourself, you know what I mean? Or, you know, now it's time to hit the sales hard. Like, we got to start, hey, who are we pitching to? Who are we selling to? You know, so I think it's cool, though, like, we can kind of like see the contrast, you know what I mean? Like, you saw the entrepreneurship opportunity early on, and I commend you for that, bro, because like, you saw it early on with no family, no kids yet, and you're taking on that journey, which is the best thing to do. Because like, college, it's sad. It really is sad to say, like, and in no way do I want to be a voice to discourage that to people? But in a way, like
sure.
it is something to think about because, yeah, like even in the corporate world, I would see it. Like you would see some of these, college graduates, come in and do internships, and it's like, man, you're doing an internship for how much? Like, you're getting paid how much? Like
Free work.
like pretty much, dude. And it's like you spent all that money. So, but I do believe that there is certain schools and certain degrees that, like, if you're going to be an attorney, for example, right? If you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a
Anything medical,
PA,
yeah, all
anything related to that, then yeah, But I think the most underrated right now is like skills, like learning certain skills, learning certain blue collar. Right? Is that what how would you call it?
Like more like labor
Construction,
work.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Electrician work, like framing, like it's like,
Bro, linemen's make $250,000 a year.
bro, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
And
there's so many things that you can
yeah.
do that doesn't require
Yeah.
so much money. to
Machine
learn.
operators, bro,
Yeah.
that are making $100K. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, bro. Like, I feel there's so much underrated stuff like that yeah, like, so I get what you mean, that sometimes like you look at colleges and you're like, it's kind of, it does feel like it is a sham.
And I remember too, like back in the day, I started learning a little bit of like financials and like what it would be like later. And I remember there's this, I don't remember the whole video, but basically it was saying like the medium income is now going to be the new poverty income. And I remember sitting there, I was like, whoa, I don't have a family, I don't have kids, I'm not married. I was like, but that's something to really think about,
Yeah.
So I was like 21 years old at this time. I could pull up the video right now, or I could drop it in my Instagram or the video later. But I remember watching this video and I was just completely shook by what they were saying. And to be honest, if you look at it now, most people can't buy a home. Most people can't afford to live on their own. People are struggling to pay for gas. Gas costs more than water. It costs more than milk. And things are just crazy, bro. Like, and to go back on it, I remember to kind of like put things into perspective. I remember when I used to bag people's groceries. And I was making like $7.50 an hour. I eventually got to $8.75, feeling tough, right? And I remember the CSR was like, I make I think like $25 an hour. I was like, damn, you're balling. Like back in the day, like young, you're balling, like you're killing it.
Yeah, it's
I remember I used to get my check every week. It was like $220 to $230. I was like, yeah, I feel good right now. But I was like, I can only imagine making 25.
Yeah.
But if you really put it into perspective now, bro, what's minimum wage to this day?
Dang, bro, yeah.
It's like 20. I don't even know what it is, 18 to 22. So it's like, I'm looking back, I'm like, I wonder how much they're paying these CSRs now. Like, they give them a raise? Are they getting paid
That's
the
a good
same?
question, man. Yeah.
Is that industry as successful as they said it would be? Because clearly, making 25 an hour, bro, like, I think you'd be struggling, like, especially as a single person with, like, kids or whatever. Like, whatever the situation is, bro.
Yeah.
I think, like, 25 an hour in college, living with your parents, that's fire. I think that's cool, but like on the adulthood, like the big league games,
Yeah.
I feel like that's a struggle, bro. And like it just shows you like things are just getting more expensive, and your pay is not as adequate as you think it would be.
Yeah. No, yeah, man. I think that nowadays you have to almost force yourself to do something extra.
For sure.
Because if you're not forcing yourself, if you're not, if like there's a lot of people out there where like the husband is the only one working or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And if, even if you're a stay-at-home mom, like you can hustle, like you can do something to like really see your family through, because yeah, everything is getting freaking expensive, bro. Like everything is costing more, everything. And so like if you want to, I think it goes into both ways. Like, you got to be a good spender, know how to budget yourself. Like that's super important too. Cause I think on one end, like we are, in a way we can get a little bit spoiled you know,
For
like
sure.
where we get used to living a certain way, like not like the middle class, for example, like not so much like, oh, you know, like I live this lavish lifestyle, but at the same time, like it's learning that, hey, you know what, I can do without this for a while. Like I can do without this for, you know, while this is going on, you know. And so, but at the same time, like having that stay at home mom, like, or whatever, you know what I mean? If like, dude, start something.
For
Like
sure.
start a business, like, you know, sell some like what is it that you're good at? Like what is it that you like? What is it that you're into? What is it you're always buying?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like I think that's a good way to start. Like what is it that you're always buying that you're like, you know, I can make these, you know? Like I remember my wife, you know, at that time my daughter was small and you know, she would use those the hair bows, right? Right, babe? It was like the hair bows or something. Is that how you say it? Hair bows, yeah.
Hair bows.
Sounds kind of funny. I like that. Hair bows.
Hair bows.
Like headbands.
Headbands, you know.
Yeah.
So she started to make them. You know, like she started to make them and she made a few and she sold some. You know what I mean?
That's fire.
And, you know what I mean? And so it's like, yeah, like, you know, like I think there's just I think and like you said, I think I like what you said earlier is the mentality of when you're in entrepreneurship is collabing. I think that's huge, bro. Collabing and supporting one another.
Absolutely.
You know, I remember one time I was having a conversation with someone and they're like, yeah, you know, we could really make a change. Like, you know, what if we all get together and you know, remember how we protested the gas prices? I think sometime there, like one time there was like, nobody drive the highways. I don't remember doing it. I remember driving, bro. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I need to go somewhere.
Yeah, I need to go, brother.
You know, and I told her, I'm like, okay. I'm like, but you know what the problem is with protesting sometimes is that you get caught up in just one idea. Like, that's it. Like, now you're committed to that idea, whether if it's wrong or it's right, or they come up with the next idea because you're committed to a group of people. Now you're committed to those ideas. I said, I don't like that. I want to be able to have a free belief.
For sure.
You know what I mean? I was like, what I was like, instead, why don't we become consumers of our own products? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like we, you know, like for example, us, like, you know, we'll say it on camera, like you train me, right? You know, and in exchange, we do content.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So
That's a collab.
We collab. We consume each other's content. That way, like, you know, you're saving money, I'm saving money, and we're able to use whatever that extra money we have
To disperse it
where
other
it's
areas.
needed. You know, but even in regardless, even when I started with you, like it's like I saw you as a local business. So I didn't see you as a corporate business. I saw you as a local business. So even in the beginning when you started to train me and you're like, yeah, well, you know, here's my fee schedule. This is what I charge. I'm like, cool, let's do it. Because I'm investing in a local business. And I think like that's what we need to do is we need to really, I think that's one way to collab with one another.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is like dispersing like our economy to each other. Because a lot of times we do like, you know, we want to protest and we want to fight against corporate America and we want to, you know, but the truth is that they did something that worked, that functions for them, and they're doing it. You know what I mean? Like they have a system that works, that earns them money. Like you can't hate on that because we're all trying to head that way anyways.
Yeah.
You know, so why not help each other create those systems?
Yeah.
You know, I think sometimes like we're very harsh on small businesses and entrepreneurs. Like they get one thing wrong and it's like, they suck. But how many times does Starbucks get your stuff wrong?
All the thing,
All the time, bro. Like sometimes I've walked away and sipping. I feel like I'm sipping nothing but milk. I'm like, where's my coffee at?
Or
Like
your food's half cold, half warm.
yeah, like exactly, bro. You know what I mean? But then like a week later, where are we?
They're still back
We're
there.
right there again, bro. You know what I mean? But then we go to the local coffee shop or we go somewhere and we're like, you know what I mean? Like they took forever for my order, this and that. Like it's like, come on, like what's 5 extra minutes of your time? You know what I mean? Like, but what you're doing is you're supporting a local entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And eventually that local entrepreneur might, you know what I mean? And one day you might start your business. You know what I mean? And you're gonna want the same support. I'm a big believer in that.
And I think too, like, there's a lot of good things in entrepreneurship, but getting started is not easy.
Bro.
You know, I remember I was 19 years old, so like a little bit about how I got involved in entrepreneurship. There was this guy named Ryan Allen Bell. I still work with him to this day. If you're listening, he's gonna watch this. But he was in my college class at Crafton Hills College. He's like, hey, he just turned around like nonchalant. Hey, bro, do you want to learn how to make an extra $600? I looked at him. I was like, no. But I had a friend that asked me in a different way. He's like, hey, man, we're having to get to my house, food, drinks, thriving community. He used like keywords, right? We're going to show people how to make an extra $600 a month. I was like, fire, I'm down. So I went, right? And I ran into Ryan Allen Bell still at that event, bro. I was like, hey, bro, I told you no like 2 weeks ago. He's like, but look at you here now. I was like, but anyways, that company was called Wake Up Now. And it was more of like an MLM showing you how to basically save money, like through coupons. I don't know. I don't remember too much about it. But regardless of what the product was, the biggest thing I got from it was personal development. So I spent $100 every single month for a full year, made nothing in return. So I was negative $1,200. But the community were like 18, 19, 20 to about 23. And we're all diving deep into personal development. So I look at it as like, yeah, I lost $1,200, but I actually gained more than $1,200, bro.
Yeah.
Than within the personal development side of things. Then there was a shift. And that's when I was like pursuing professional soccer, like my professional soccer career. And my friend reaches out and says, hey, bro, like I want to give you some free water. I looked at him and was like, bro, you sound ridiculous. Like, you sound crazy. Like, water is water.
I can get some right here, bro.
Like, back then, we were both okay drinking water out from the hose, like from the water hose, right? But anyway, I was like, yeah, whatever, bro. Like, if you want to save me money for a week, like, just slide me some water. So I was trying the water, and then I noticed that I was lasting longer during my games and my practices, and I noticed that I wasn't getting bloated, and I actually craved drinking the water. And I drank a whole gallon of water during games and during practices for different days, right? And I also noticed that I wasn't waking up the next day sore, which was very, very, like, huge for us, especially for me. So I had, like, the edge. I had an upper edge against all the other players because, like, obviously they're hurting. And I'm like, I feel fine, bro. Like, we did the same thing, but I feel good. So I called my friend. I was like, hey, man, like, I don't know exactly what this water is. The hell did you put in it? Some fairy dust? Like, what? Like, what is it?
Some limitless drug.
Right? Like, some crazy, I don't know what you did, man. But he's like, nah, it's medical grade water. I was like, medical grade water? Like, what? So whatever, he sent me a video. I checked it out. I was like, bro, I had no idea this stuff even existed. I was just so used to drinking Dasani, but Dasani was being so dishonest to me. So I ended up checking it out more. So I went to an event in Orange County at Equinox in Costa Mesa, and these doctors were educating us on this water. And they had their patients there. They had their patients there sharing their testimonies what the water has done for them. And I looked at my friend. I was like, bro, I feel so dumb telling you no. I had a great experience. Clearly, there's a doctor here sharing us, like, the valuable, like, the scientific research, not of what the water is called, like Kangen, but the actual scientific term, hydrogen-rich water. And there's articles everywhere, bro. And this was in, like, 2015. And I was like, and his patients have testimonies, and they're here to, like, speak. Like, bro, in court, it's called documentation beats conversation. This is hearsay. I was like, how do I get one? So I found out they were like $5,000. Like, bro, I don't have $5,000. He's like, well, there's a business to it too. And I looked at the business side of things, like, bro, this is ridiculous, like, how they were paying. And I was like, I still don't have the money, bro. But the thing is that I had credit, so I leveraged my credit, and I was paying it for like $30 a month. And dude, I paid that thing off in like 6 months, and it completely changed my family's life with, like, their health. The people around me who were drinking it, and then obviously, you know, my bank was loving it, bro. So it was cool. But the thing is, it's like, you can have a good run in business, but that good run always comes to an end because you have to develop more as a person. So eventually it stops.
Yeah.
And there was waves of it going, waves of it stopping, waves of it going, waves of it stopping. And when it stops, that's when you're tested the most. It's like, all right, like, clearly what I was doing was working, but what do I got to do different to keep this system going?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you can make a lot of money with entrepreneurship, but bro, there are those waves. There's the waves where it goes down. But the thing is, like, the thing with like corporate America, you have a consistent check, like it's stable.
Yeah.
And sometimes like I've hit that point, like, bro, I'm just about to get a regular job. But I'm like, nah, bro, like I just gotta fight. I gotta keep going. I gotta keep pushing. I gotta keep developing myself. And developing yourself, guys, like this is just a lesson. Sometimes it's just not watching TV and watching audios or watching videos of like successful entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Sacrificing music and listening to Audible. And, you know, like it's those little things that you sacrifice, man. And
100%, man.
it goes forward to, you know, training. The same thing for training. You can have good months, and there's a lot of trainers who are watching this too. You can have good months as a trainer, but there are those months where you're tested. And right now we're in quarter 4. This is the quarter where you're tested.
Yeah.
And this is a quarter where you need to change your system. You need to get things together. You need to promote. You need to collab. You need to reach out to people. You need to do things differently. You need to do whatever you need to do, because really, in my eyesight, I'm not living in 2024. I'm living in 2025.
Yeah.
So it's like, I've been through the trenches with the entrepreneurship where my account was negative more than it was positive. I think any entrepreneur can agree or testify to that. Who's made it, who's in the millions right now, they could agree.
Yeah.
Not able to pay bills on time. You know, there's been moments of that too. So it's like entrepreneurship is it's not for everybody. And the thing is, it's like when things get slow and get bad, that's honestly where you're tested the most. And, you know, again, going back to like my brother and I's personal brand, Weight Stays, keep pushing weight, bro. Like, regardless of what you're going through, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially is like entrepreneurship. You have to keep pushing weight.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm sharing like bits and pieces, like my story. Like, there's obviously way more details into it. But if you kind of get the idea, it's just like, regardless of who you are, what you're doing, what your story is, you have to keep pushing weight.
Yeah. No, and I think that that's what embodies the whole brand. You know what I mean? I think that that's what's cool about what a lot of brands are doing nowadays, and what you guys are doing is personalizing the brand. You know what I mean? It's different. Like, I mean, I've always seen how certain brands have an emotional connection, you know, like Nike, you know, just do it. You know what I mean? You have all these different brands out there that have been able to do what they do because they've connected a personal sentiment to it. You know what I mean? And so knowing that about, okay, Weight Stay, it's not just a clothing brand.
No.
But Weight Stay is really about having a mindset. Like, when you wear it, you know, it's something that should come off like, man, you know what? I'm in the gym right now. I'm going to keep pushing. Man, right now, I'm on the entrepreneurship journey right now. Like, dang, things are dry. Things are, man, like, this sucks right now. Like, bills are going to be due soon. How are we going to do it? Okay, we made it this month. How are we going to do it next month? You know what I mean? Like, but I just got to keep pushing. I just got to keep pushing because, you know, my wife always says, like, man, you know, we never know until we just keep going. You know, like, we never know. Like, you know, but if we quit, then we'll know. Because once you quit, like, then you quit. You know, like, you're not going to know what's going to happen next because you're quitting. But what's the worst? You're already in it. You're already committed. So just keep going. Yeah. Like, go past that dark tunnel. Like, there's a light at the end of the tunnel for entrepreneurs out there. You know, there is a light. You know, and sometimes, bro, like, I even dare to say, sometimes keep pushing, bro. Like, there's nothing wrong with sometimes, like, if you're in the entrepreneur journey, like, man, sometimes you are going to have to pick up a few weeks of working a normal job. Yeah. You know, that might.
Or a side job.
Or a side job. You know what I mean?
Whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah, you might have to do that. You know what I mean? I remember last, you know, talking about quarters, I remember last quarter, you know, in 2020, was it 2023? Yeah, in 2023, super grateful. I remember, you know, a company that I was doing videos for, you know, the video portion of it kind of slowed down, and, you know, they started feeding me, you know, some work, you know what I mean? Like, hey, you know, come in a day, come in a two, you know what I mean? And you know what? Looking back, I'm like, man, I'm grateful that was extended to me, that was given to me, because that was able to get us through Christmas. That was able to get us through the end of the year. You know what I mean? That was able to get me to tax season. You know what I mean? And then, and so sometimes keep pushing doesn't always mean that everything is going to be good.
Yeah.
Sometimes keep pushing is going to mean like, hey, sometimes keep pushing is like, you know what? Like, I'm going to switch from Verizon and I'm going to go to Cricket.
Yeah.
Sometimes keep
Sweet
pushing.
pivot.
Yeah. Sometimes keep pushing is like, man, how many subscriptions do I have? Dang, I got 10 subscriptions. Like, I'm going to cancel all of them. You know what I mean? And use that money. Because I one thing I see, bro, about people that are doing good, like when it comes to their entrepreneurship, is they don't stop pushing content too.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I notice. And I think the people that invest less in that are the ones that struggle the most.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to say like that, oh, you got to push content in a way where you're like making it look a certain way, but it's just more like you're staying consistent, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're staying consistent with what you're doing. And I think that, sometimes keep pushing is like, pushing out content even when you don't feel like pushing out content for your
1000%.
business,
Absolutely.
bro. Like sales are down and you're like, but you got to make it seem like
things are up.
things are up. Sometimes that's what it's going to take.
And I think also with entrepreneurship, especially with the industry I'm in, with the water, with fitness, it's not about the money. Money's cool. Money can do a lot of things for sure, but your income is going to be determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. Yeah. So if you kind of have alignment with what you're doing, like your purpose and I guess your mission statement, things will come into play. And also too, money is energy too. I believe money is energy. It's the way you go about it. So not letting greed come into play, not letting ego come into play about money. And it's just like, for example, like I remember people asked me for money. I told this to a group of people. I was like, the fact that you asked, I'm going to give it to you, but you don't need to pay me back. Because if you're struggling to get ahead, I don't want you to struggle to pay me back. So just keep it. It's cool, bro. Like, I'm not tripping. And that rule of thumb is for all, like, for my family. It's just like, if you're asking me for something, like, don't worry about paying me back tomorrow or next week. Like, if you feel like you have to pay me back when you're ready. But, like, you don't got to pay me back right away, especially if, like, things are tough right now. So I think, too, it's, like, what inspires me to, like, be successful in entrepreneurship is, like, when people call you, they can depend on you. Not that it, like, strokes my ego, but it's just more of, like, I could help the people around me because of what I'm doing in my life, what's going on with my business or businesses and entrepreneurship that I can give. Basically, I can just give back. Yeah. Whoever asks for it.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a beautiful thing, bro. Like, it made me, and right now when you're sharing that, it made me think of all the, Ezra plays football right now, and he was able to raise up all his money for his football, bro. Like, of course, like, we helped him and everything, you know, but he was able to do it. Like, he went with me to every meeting, and it was through meeting with different business owners. And because of their generosity, like, he was able to raise up all his money for football, bro.
And that's going to teach him a lot, bro. He may not understand most of it today, but when he's older, he's going to look back on it. He's like, damn, like,
I was dope.
I remember doing that.
Yeah, because I took him to the meetings with me. I took him to go, do cold sales, like, where we went in. And
he's going to carry those skills with him, bro. That's awesome.
Like, I mean, we went out of places, like, with, like as they say in Spanish, with our tails behind our legs, like, kind of embarrassed because they told us no, but hey, like, at the end of the day, like, he was in the videos, like, we offered a service for them in exchange, like, because, at the same time, we didn't want to just go and ask for money, like, we wanted to, like, hey, if you help us with this area, we want to help you in this area. Like, we don't want to just take from you. We want to add value to you too, So that's even one thing that I wanted to show him too, is like, hey, we're going to go ask for sponsors, but we're going to give them value, because that was one thing we would have a conversation in the car with him. I'm like, you know why? And then he'd be like, why? And I'd be like, because a lot of these businesses, they work hard. They work hard for their money. You know, they do a lot. They sacrifice a lot. And I told him, I was like, you see me and mom, right? What me and mom do, the late hours sometimes that we work, the places that we got to go, you know, the things that we got to do. You see that, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, a lot of these business owners do the same thing, probably even more. I was like, so we don't want to just take from them. We want to give something to them, you know? But like you said, bro, it's because of entrepreneurs, business owners that are willing to pay the price, and they see money not just as like, oh, that's just mine. Like, it's like, okay, can we help this young man? Can we help our community?
Yeah.
Yup, we can. Let's do it.
Yeah. And I think too, like, I think you can relate with entrepreneurship. Like, I remember back in the day spending $10 was like, and then eventually it's like 100, and then eventually it's like in the thousands. And I think that as you make more money and as you spend more money, it's a tolerance, you know. And for example, like, there's been moments where me and my brother are sitting there, we're like, that's fine, we'll just figure it out. And I think that everything's figure outable. You just gotta figure it out. Like, what do we gotta do?
New word of the dictionary.
You know, like,
figure outable.
Everything's figure outable, bro.
Love it,
You know,
bro.
especially
Yeah,
like when you're like
that's true.
pushed in the corner, like backs against the wall. You just gotta figure it out. And I feel like there's been moments of times where I'm just like driving home in silence. I'm just like, all right, like, what do I gotta do? Like, you just get in this moment. And for me, like, my biggest thing, I was like, all right. And it sounds so cliche, but like, I'm not the guy to like go to God when things get hard, but like, I'll talk like, God, like, what do I gotta do, bro? Like, give me an idea. Give me a seed and let me bring it to fruition. Like, what do I gotta like? And that's what I'm saying. Things are figure outable. You just gotta find out how you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And I always think too, like, when things get tough, go back to basics. Whatever your system is for your business, like, go back to the basics that got you there in the first place.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you're like in this run, when things are going good, you you get lazy with the basics. I don't need to do that. Like, I could go on about my day and not do that. It's just like, no, like, do the basics. It could be a simple thing as like reading a book or praying or journaling or meditating or working out.
Yeah.
You know, pouring into yourself before you pour into anybody else. That, like, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
That's simple stuff, you know? So, yeah, things are figure outable.
Yeah, no, I love that, bro. I love that. No, and honestly, like, one thing for me, like, and, you know, I know not everyone out there is a believer, but for me, bro, like, and for my family, like, that's been huge for us. Like, something basic that we always fall back to, bro, is praying. Like, is just going to God. You know what I mean? And like, even like last week, I think I was just meditating. I was in prayer, man, and that scripture came to me where, man, like, it's in Zacharias, I think, and it says, like, do not despise small beginnings. You know, it just kept ringing to me, you know, and I was, you know, and it was because I was about to go to a job, you know what I mean, like, you know, and they were demanding a little bit more than what we had agreed to, you know, and the price that we had negotiated and everything wasn't, you know, and but it just reminded me that, you know what I mean, like, where, you know, like, I started to fight with my own ego, you know, and then that just came to me, you know, and it's just like, don't despise small beginnings, you know, and it was just reminding me, like, George, like, it's okay, like, you know, you serve well, kind of like what you were saying, like, you serve well, you don't let this astray you, don't let this discourage you, don't let this frustrate you to where you give them what you think they deserve. No, you do it the way that you were to do a big job. If this was a big job, a small job, you do it the same. Don't despise small beginnings, you know? And so I'm like, okay, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, all right, like, you know, like, I got to just remind myself that, you know what, small beginnings are still beginnings. Like, it doesn't matter what is going on. I got to appreciate this moment. I got to appreciate this opportunity. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs need to kind of understand that, is that sometimes we want the big.
Yeah.
Like, we want what we see on social media. but I'm sorry, man. Like, you know, in the last 2 years we've been full time probably the last 3 years. And in the last 3 years, personally, a lot of stuff that you see on social media, it's fake. Like, it's 100% fake. Most of it is fake. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes, like, we need to just understand that, you know what, this is the process. Like, this is what we have to do. Like, not everything is lavish. Not everything is good. Not everything is pretty. Not everything is beautiful. There are ugly moments to this, but we got to just sit back and appreciate those moments, because when we do get those big jobs, when we do get those big contracts, when we do get those, we're going to be able to be centered, focused, and we're not going to like go on a trip because we know what it is. What we know what we did to get there.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
So what do you want to leave the future weight staters, man? What do you want to leave them with? What can they expect, bro? Like, I know this is...
So my thing is, it's like with weight state. So we have weight state fitness. We have weight state water. So that's Kangen water. And then we have weight states. We have like 3 different entities. Our vision is to basically impact as many people as we can. 2, if you do want to partner up with us in any way, like we have weight state water. So we have mentorship for that. You're going to meet a community of a couple thousand people who come from different walks of life. And then weight state fitness, you know, maybe you want to be... So I'm at that phase of training where I'm going to be taking a step back. Like, not a big step, but it's just more of like, I'm going to bring in way more clients, but I want other trainers to train them. And that's the next thing for me. So it's maybe like through weight state fitness, like you want to be an athlete or a client, whatever you want to call it, and you want to be trained, you want to work out with weight state fitness, like you want to be part of the community. Or 2, you really love what we're doing, that you want to be a trainer of weight state fitness. Like, that's like the next step where we're at, and we're currently building that. We're in the middle of building that right now. So I think it's just, we're here to give as much value as we can, and through the things that we have to offer, we're just gonna attract people from basically like those different entities. So
nice.
I think that's what I gotta say. And at the same time, we're just here to relate. And also, what I wish I would have done like in my earlier years is like document more of this stuff, because here's the thing, guys, like, I've had people tell me and my brother, like, oh, I want to be like you guys. And me and my brother sit there and we look at each other and we just smile. But then behind closed doors, me and my brother are like, bro, we're still trying to figure it out. Like, we're still trying to put it together. Yeah, we have some cool things. We do some cool stuff. We're able to do certain things and whatever. But although we're at like a different level, like we're still trying to figure it out. Like things are still growing, you know? So I think understanding that I'm no different than anybody. I've just been doing it longer.
Yeah.
And don't compare your chapter 1 to like my chapter 30 or whatever it may be. So trust your own process.
100%.
And then also when things get tough or sticky, seek guidance, seek a mentorship, find an audiobook, listen to a sermon, whatever it may be. So yeah. No, I think I said a lot, but I think I said what I wanted to say.
Oh, for sure, bro. Well, thanks, Anthony, bro. It was cool, man. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for the next one, man.
Episode 3 coming.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
No, thank you, man.